Hey everyone. Today we're diving into something really powerful. The idea that the little choices you and I make every single day can actually stack up to create massive planet-wide change. It's all about realizing the power we already have. So let's start with a feeling I think we can all relate to. You ever feel like this? You do your part, you recycle, you turn off the lights, but when you look at the huge challenges facing the world, it's easy to think, what I'm doing is just a tiny drop in a massive, overwhelming ocean. Does it even matter? Well, what if that feeling is completely wrong? What if in those everyday choices, you're not just a drop in the ocean, but you're actually holding the most powerful weapon for change? Seriously, like a personal Brahmastra for shaping a better world for you and for the planet. Now, when we talk about this, I want to be clear. This isn't about sacrifice. It's not about giving up everything you love. It's about something called mindful consumption. And a great way to think about it is like decluttering. It's about consciously clearing out the noise from our homes, our minds, even our hearts, to make room for the stuff that actually genuinely matters to us. Okay, so how does a bit of personal decluttering turn into a global impact? Well, this is where it gets really cool. It's all about how tiny individual actions can create these absolutely gigantic ripples. And it comes down to the surprising math of you. There's this great old story about a village pond, the Dooth Talai. The plan was for every villager to pour one pot of milk into it overnight to create a pond of milk. But a lot of people thought, hey, it's dark. No one will notice if I just pour in a pot of water instead. My one little pot won't make a difference. Well, the next morning, the entire pond was just water. It's the perfect example of how things fall apart when we all think our small action doesn't count. But let's flip that story completely on its head. What happens when we do the opposite? What happens when millions and millions of us decide that our small, positive choices do matter? The effect isn't just 1 + 1 + 1, it's exponential. So check this out. In a carbon footprint exercise, people made some small tweaks to their lifestyle. Nothing crazy, just small shifts in their food, fashion, or travel habits. The results? On average, each person saved between 200 and 350 kilograms of carbon emissions in a year. That's a huge number for changes that don't really feel like a sacrifice at all. And to put that number into perspective, what does saving, say, 200 kilos of CO2 even mean? Well, it's the same amount of carbon that 10 fully grown trees absorb in an entire year. So yeah, your small choices can basically give you the environmental impact of your own little forest. And it's not just about carbon. Let's take fashion. The simple act of buying just one less shirt or pair of jeans in a year, that alone saves around 1,000 liters of water. 1,000! Again, it's a tiny decision with this massive real-world result. Now here's where it all comes together and gets really mind-blowing. If enough of us make these simple, mindful changes, our combined effort is actually enough to meet the individual contribution needed for huge national goals, like India's pledge to cut emissions by 1 billion tons. All of a sudden, your drop in the ocean isn't so small anymore. It's helping to turn the entire tide. So, we've talked about the planet, but this isn't just about saving the world. It's also about you. Because the very same choices that are good for the planet can directly make your own life way better. So let's talk about the personal payoff. What's in it for you? The rewards are incredibly real. For example, cut down your non-work screen time by just 30 minutes a day. You get back almost 200 hours a year. That's time for family, for hobbies, for anything. And remember those mindful habits that have the impact of 10 trees? Well, they can also save you around 40,000 rupees a year. So this isn't a trade-off. It's a win for your wallet, a win for your well-being, and a win for the world. And the benefits just keep expanding. They don't stop with you. Your actions create a ripple, right? They influence your friends, your family, your community. They start to build momentum for even bigger change. Let me show you a fantastic real-world example of how this works. This is the incredible story of Pariavaran Mitra, a social enterprise started by a guy named Ashish Agrawal. He saw that the women who were collecting and sorting waste in Ahmedabad were doing a vital service, but they were being totally exploited. So he didn't just see a problem, he saw an opportunity. He helped them create a fair, transparent cooperative. And get this, it increased their income by over 1/3. He turned simple waste management into a powerful tool for dignity and social justice. That is one person's vision rippling out to lift up an entire community. So we've gone from you, the individual, to the numbers, to the community. And now we come to the biggest, most important question of all. In this huge interconnected web of change, what's your part to play? And that brings us to this really beautiful idea called the pluriverse. It's the concept that there isn't one single right way to create a better future. The world is complex, so the path forward needs all kinds of solutions, tons of different approaches, and a deep respect for many ways of knowing and doing. There's room for absolutely everyone. The writer David Orr put it perfectly. He said, "The world needs it all. It needs the peacemakers and the healers. It needs the people who restore nature and the people who tell powerful stories that inspire us all to change. It needs lovers of every kind who act from a place of deep care." You see, this whole journey isn't about one person having to do everything perfectly. It's about each of us finding which of these essential roles we want to play. It's about finding our unique way to contribute. So the question really isn't if you can make a difference. The only question that's left is, what role will you choose?